the only reason why I joined the Marines, like, specifically, is because, like, to, like, compensate for, like, oh, you think I'm weak, watch this, and, like, I was like, oh my god, I made it, or whatever.
The kid that gets picked on in school, so becomes a Marine, comes back, and nobody picks on him anymore.
Yep.
It's fair. It's fair.
It was fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Welcome to Open Seat at the Table. My hope is that together we can make this the largest dining table in the world. Doesn't matter where you're sitting, on a couch, in your bed, the backseat of a car, or even a real dining table, we can all sit together at Open Seat at the Table. My career path is led so that I sit and eat alone most nights, and I miss talking and having good conversations around the dining table with my friends and family. So to get that back, I've decided to ask random people to sit and enjoy a meal with me, to have a good conversation, and to tell us some of their stories. Everybody has a story somebody needs to hear. If this sounds interesting or exciting, please like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss a story. On to their stories.
All right, welcome. This is Adam. He's a fellow driver. Glad you guys could join us tonight. And Adam's going to tell us whatever he wants to tell us about himself. How you doing, Adam?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
It's a long day.
Long day?
Yeah. I don't go to Vegas very often in a truck, and people, can't drive in California, but in Vegas it seems like they're trying to jump in front of you. Yeah.
Extra special people
in
Vegas?
So that's added stress, makes me more tired, obviously.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll just do like an overview of how I got here.
Yeah.
My hometown is Redding, California, up north by Mount Shasta. I lived there until I was 17 or 18. I joined the Marines. I signed on the dotted line when I was 17. So right when I graduated, I was gone. I was like, I'm never coming back here.
Right.
So I was in the Marines for 5 years, stationed in North Carolina. I went to Afghanistan in 2010, 2011 with 6 Marines in Sangin and Helmand province. And my time in the military, I started my family. I have 4 biological children and 1 adopted niece, and I'm expecting a baby in this February. I'm excited for this baby in February.
Yeah.
Because
we in the boy or girl?
It's a boy.
It's a boy. First boy?
No.
Oh, okay.
So when I was in the Marines, it just worked out. All my biological kids are about 2 years apart. So this is the biggest break. It's 5 years. So my wife's like, we were planning it, and we're like, this is gonna be our last one. And I have 1 boy, he's the middle child. And when I first started in the Marines, I was doing satellite communications and like radios and data, satellites. And the rumor was, if you mess around with that stuff, it's like a lot of radiation. You can't have boys. So when I had my first boy, I was like, yes, okay, I guess that's not real. And then I had girl. I was like, oh god. and now this one's a boy. I was like, okay,
all right.
I mean, my last name isn't really what I'm worried about as far as having boys. It's like, I don't know. Obviously, I love my daughters. But every guy wants a little mini me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to have.
My wife had complications, and so we had 2 girls, and couldn't have any more. And luckily, my brother had.
So after the Marines, my father-in-law wanted me to go to the same school he did, out of Sacramento, to become a IT, like networking. So I started doing that in 2016, and the school that I was going to actually closed down. Everyone knows this school. It was ITT Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So they closed down not too long. Well, actually, I was 11 months into the program, and my program was going to end at 13 to get my degree. So it shut down 2 months before I get my degree, and I still have nothing to show for that.
Right. Except for debt.
Oh, luckily the GI Bill.
Oh.
But they didn't give it back to me.
Right.
And then I went to other private schools in Sacramento area, like MTI and DeVry, just to finish things up. I got a couple of degrees in IT, computer science. I got my first IT job a couple years after that, working for the Sutter Health Hospitals as an IT guy. And so this was 2017, no, it's 2018, and I was getting $25 an hour right outside of like college, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And now looking back today, it's like, there's no way I would survive on that right now.
Right. Right.
But I kind of noticed that things weren't really going my way, so I kind of pivoted, and I went through like advanced security guard training, executive protection. I was going to work my way up to become a firearms instructor, which is what I was doing in the Marines.
Okay.
But after 6 months as a armed security guard in Sacramento, there was an incident, and I hurt my back even worse than what had happened in the Marines. So I couldn't stand up straight for a long period of time. So that brings us to the beginning of, or I guess the middle of 2020. I was doing like a more hands-off security just to like make a little bit of money. And then I realized that, COVID had just hit the news in February.
Right.
So in March, actually on my birthday, March 2020, I left the job there, my security job, and I was like in a bad place. I was like, depressed and
Right.
living off of unemployment and stuff like that. And I was real down. And then I just had this thought. I was like, I'm just going to go check out this trucking company that I keep seeing on the internet. Some people might know this company. It's called Swift. And so they flew me down to Southern California in Fontana. A lot of truckers know that area. And I we did our written tests. They gave us our permit, and then they started training us with driving and stuff. And at this point, no one had paid anything. So on like the third week after we got our permit and we were about to start driving, they gave us our contracts that they wanted us to do, saying we're going to drive for them for 12 months, and they're going to pay, or they're going to take care of what we would pay for the driving school or whatever. And then when I first signed up, I signed up under the veterans program. So I was like, hey, this is wrong. This isn't what I was told. I was told I was going to get this much. Wow, even 2 years ago, the price they told me is just disgusting. But anyways, they promised me like 15 cents more per mile than like normal starting people.
Right.
They wouldn't honor it. So I was like, no one owes you anything right now at this point. 2 weeks in, no one owes you any money. I walked down, not literally, I went down the road to a company called CRST. They honored a veteran thing. I was making much more than, the starting people. I met this really awesome guy in the training there at CRST, and we became really good friends. We became team drivers, co-drivers for a little over a year. I loved trucking as soon as I started doing it, just because in the past I was dealing with like depression or PTSD or whatever from the Marines. Like I was always angry and stuff, and driving is like therapy, I guess. Like just cruising. I mean, obviously traffic sucks, but
there's those who like driving and there's those who don't. And
yeah, it's hard to. A lot of people told me it was going to be a huge culture shock, lifestyle change, but it just kind of worked. It improved my mental health a lot. But anyways, the co-driver, I should have said this earlier. His name is Will. He's still a really good friend, but he had 10 years of experience already when I was coming into this, so I got lucky as heck. Right. I'm probably the only one in the whole company who got 10 years of experience co-driver right off the bat.
Right. Makes a difference when you have someone experienced help, driving with you.
Yeah, especially another story later on. But unfortunately, he had to stop driving because of health issues. Sucks, a young guy like him, back issues like me, but different. He just couldn't sit any longer. But and then I tried to stick with the company, even though I had my best friend just left. I tried to stick with the company, and they gave me a new co-driver because it's a co-driving company,
right?
And it was some kid. I'm gonna call him a kid, even though I'm only 30. He was 21 or 22. The first day he got on my truck, we drove him to his house so we can get his stuff. Or he drove, from SoCal over the Grapevine to not too far from here. He was treating the truck like it was a Corvette. We didn't have a trailer going over the Grapevine. He was swerving, speeding, scaring the hell out of me. And as soon as we got to his house, I was like, all right, I'll, pick you up in a couple of days when you're, off your home time. And as soon as he shut the door, I called my driver manager. I was like, I'm not driving with this guy. This is scary. Like, I have 5 kids. I'm not going to let this guy put my life in his hands. And so from there, I kind of hopped around to smaller accounts through CRST. They have another company that they own called Gardner.
Yeah.
A lot of people know them. They work they have Walmart accounts for grocery delivery, and it was solo, which is what I was looking for because I was too scared of co-drivers. And it was fine for a while until I realized. So I was starting in Sacramento, and they would immediately send me to Sparks, Nevada, which is like right past Reno. Mm-hmm. So as everyone knows, the Donner Pass is between California and Reno, and I was going over that twice a day. I'm like, okay. And then there's no way this could get worse. They started sending me to the Bay Area. So come back home or come back to the distribution center over Donner Pass, get my load, go back over Donner Pass, go to the Bay Area, fight my 14-hour clock to get back over again. It was too stressful, and although Walmart was really organized and I like how they run stuff, but that area is just terrible.
Yeah.
So after a little bit of that, I was like, well, maybe I'll just stick closer to home. This company isn't even worth mentioning because I was only there for 3 weeks because they lied to me. I will name drop Cardinal Logistics. They lied to me. They said that I would be driving doubles from Sacramento, delivering car parts to GM dealerships. Period. No. They had me going over Donner Pass
again
with doubles.
Oh, yeah.
Empty in the snow in November. They wanted me to chain 22 tires. I'm like, I'm I'm not old, but like my body is old. It's broken. I was rolling around in the snow and puddles and breaking my back, putting chains on. Like, they lied to me, and then they put me through that. I was like, I'm done. 3 weeks is all I could do. I can't do it.
What's the best part about trucking?
I am not sitting at a desk taking orders from a dude who has no idea what he's talking about. I mean,
We kind of do.
yeah, now I think about it.
But they give us our freedom to be able to do what we need to do to get the job done.
Yeah, I guess, so like from when we wake up to when we go to bed, if we ever do, we've made we've made probably thousands of decisions and judgments throughout the day. And we're in complete control of our job. If you think about it, I mean, minus the loads and the locations, but I don't know. When I did the IT job, like coming out of the military, I couldn't, like, the office
In a box
environment is
enclosed.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
it was
I understand.
terrible.
Yep.
Also, like I said earlier, it's like therapeutic. There's a lot of cringy trucker like shirts and stuff online, and like hats, and even in some of these stores. But one of the ones that always makes me laugh is my teacher was wrong. I do get paid to look out a window all day.
Yes. Yes.
It's fun. I like it.
Yeah. What is one piece of advice for people who don't drive a truck, four-wheelers, that you could give them that would make it better for everybody on the road?
It is so many.
Or a couple.
Please give us the 15 seconds we need to finish what we're doing before you jump in front of us or try to speed past us or whatever. You guys are losing 5, 10, 15 seconds of your day if we are trying to pass another truck. Like, you can do the math. It takes you 5 seconds to get back to the speed you were. Actually, just the other day in Bakersfield, I was backing into a dock, and for whatever reason, people love to drive their personal vehicles back there. And some dude came flying around a corner, blind corner. He's 40 miles an hour. Doesn't sound fast, but behind a building, it's pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
He almost got stuck between my trailer and the dock. It was Mallview.
Oh, yeah. The end of the dock is literally on the corner of the building.
There's a stop sign. He didn't care. Like, selfishness.
Yeah.
Just think, there's so many things.
Right.
It's scary. Like,
Could you imagine if the FMCSA goes ahead and puts the speed limiters on all trucks and make us all do 60 mile an hour? Could you imagine what the road would be like with all these four-wheelers and us trying to pass each other?
it would be bad. It's bad right now with, most of our companies doing it, but at the same time, I want the other trucks to pass me because I'm doing this speed for a reason. Like, if you can go faster, like, do it, but
yeah,
that's scary.
When my daughter started driving, I told them, drive your drive and let the idiots pass you. They want to be an idiot, just let them go by you and let them do whatever they're going to do up the road.
So the piece of advice that that co-driver that I had, Will,
Mm-hmm.
when I first started driving, I was super stressed. I loved driving my whole life, but for some reason with the semi-truck, I was looking everywhere. It was hard for me to maintain my lane even. Super stressed all the time, and Will's like, just don't really worry about, like, obviously, like, be aware, but don't be like staring to the sides. Think of yourself as you're a rock in a stream and everyone flows around you. I'm like, and like, for whatever reason, it made sense. It's like, okay, all right. It helped with the stress a lot.
Yeah.
But even then, just when people do some crazy things. I want to get a dash cam, a personal one that I can record and just make these crazy videos of people are so crazy. And it all comes down to selfishness. They think them driving to Walmart at 96 miles an hour and cutting everyone off is more important than the dude you just ran off the road and he went off a bridge and died. Like, selfishness. It's insane.
I had a lady pass me on I-5. I moved out to go around traffic. She passed me on the shoulder, like on the shoulder road, lost control, spun out in front of me.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And that's not even the first one. That's just the first one that actually lost control. That isn't even the first one that's tried to pass.
Yeah, I've had people pass us on the right on I-5 going past like Patterson. It's like,
yeah.
What's the town right or not right before Fresno, but it's another pilot I stop at a lot.
Tulare.
Tulare. Yep. So I was coming north. I had just passed the pilot on-ramp, whatever, going north. And some guy was on the on-ramp on my right. He's going like 40. So I was easily passing him. Like, it wasn't even a contest.
Right.
So I was just like, okay, he's going to get behind me.
And that's a hard turn one that you get on. They don't have any speed on that on-ramp.
No. Okay, it must have been the one after that because this on-ramp was like 1,000 feet long.
Okay, yeah, it could have been
A couple after that.
Bardsley then.
But he, at the last second, he decided he wanted to get in front of me instead. But his timing was terrible. And he had to slam on his brakes because he was already behind me. He sped up, he had to slam it because it was this shoulder. I was like, oh, damn, that was crazy. I wish you should learn how to merge. And then, like 30 seconds later, he comes up and he brake checks me over and over and over again. There's a lot of traffic in the left lane, so I pull over to the right. I start to slow down. He keeps brake checking me, so I had to come to a stop. And he gets out of his car and comes up to my window smiling. He's like, next time, move over. And then he pulls a gun out and is pointing out like this. So people couldn't see, I guess. He was smiling, said, next time, get over. For whatever reason, my stupid brain decided this was a perfect time to start yelling at this dude. I was like, it is not my job to let you on the freeway when you're going 40 miles an hour. The left lane was clogged. I'm not going to kill someone for you.
People think they see us moving over for other trucks and moving over when it's clear.
When we can.
But it's not our responsibility as truck drivers. It's not the people on the highway's responsibility to let you on.
Yeah.
It's the on-ramp's responsibility to adjust their speed to get on the highway. People don't realize that.
Yeah. And they also don't realize if we're going 55, and in order for us to not cause someone to rear end us if we get over, we're flooring it. It's going to take over a whole minute for us to get up to 60.
It could be a mile. It could be a mile before we're up to 60, 65 miles an hour.
So it wouldn't be worth it.
Right.
We'd slow traffic down the left lane. It's like,
and then
people don't understand.
And if we slow down, we can't get back up and going, but they can get up and get going real quick. So, yeah, I know. I get people all the time. They come around, they flip me off. They tell me I'm number one, and because they didn't let them on the highway. Like, it's not my responsibility.
I say it out loud sometimes, even though I'm alone. I'm like, that's on you.
Yeah.
No, that's on you.
Yeah.
Come up to me. That's on you. It's like, I can't do anything about it.
You can't. Yeah.
Gosh.
But I mean, I've gotten used to being told I'm, number one, the best driver on the road. I knew it already. I mean,
thanks for telling me.
Thanks for telling me. I already knew it, but I appreciate being told.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's another one? I mean, obviously, on surface streets or even on one-lane highways, when coming up on it's a green light, but we're trying to time it. It turns yellow. We're trying to time it. And then right when we get up to the red, someone just jumps right up in front of us.
It's like, hit the slam on your brakes, and then it takes forever to get going again.
I don't know if that would be our fault because we're already slowing down.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on. Mine is where you're trying to make a right-hand turn, but it's like a one-lane street to a one-lane street, and so you have to go way wide. So you're setting yourself up blocking, but you have to do the jug handle like we're not supposed to do because you can't make it. And so you're setting yourself up. And you go out wide and you start to make your turn.
And someone pulls up.
And they pull right in there and you hit the stop and then you block everything. Everything's all blocked. The whole intersection, everything's blocked. And they're like, go. And you're like, I can't go. If I go, I'm going to run you over. And I don't know. They just don't realize what the trailer's going to do. I know that, but.
Yeah. I wish, like, I don't know what it would be called, trucker awareness training was required for getting your license.
I agree. I think to get your four-wheeler license, that you should have to go through a portion of the driver's training dealing with watching videos of truck tracking and trucks accelerating, and so that people understand what it takes for us to do our job.
Yeah. Even when I was younger, my mom would always tell me, don't jump in front of semis on the freeway, even if there's no one there. You're going to pass them to get in front of them. Put your turn signal on, but don't go in their lane. She told me until you can see, both their headlights in your rear view. And I did the math. I do it all the time going home. It's a 3.5 hour drive. What else do I have to do? It's about 150 feet, which is pretty good instead of
right.
Like, cause we have radar on our, people don't know this. We have, radar on our dashboard. People jump in, it'll tell you, they're 21 feet away, 0.3 seconds.
And the speed they're going.
Yeah. 127. Like,
I actually,
it's insane.
On the 10, got passed by two cars, went flying by me, one cut in front of me. They were racing each other, one cut in front of me, and my radar instantly went off 125 mile an hour.
Yeah,
I could not believe how fast those two guys were going down Highway 10 down in San Bernardino. We know exactly, and that's too close. It takes a football field and a half for us to even stop at 60 mile an hour, 55 mile an hour. So,
yeah, I used to have a bad habit when I first started driving, because they drilled what you just said into our head so much. It takes us, it takes you a long time to stop. So I used to always drive down south. Whenever I saw, this is such a bad habit. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. It's embarrassing. Whenever I saw like traffic like suddenly stop, I would like subconsciously like go to the shoulder. Even if I had plenty of room, I would just in case.
Yeah, in case you can't get stopped. Yeah, you're like, I'll run the shoulder.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're meant to be a bull hauler. That's what bull haulers do. You can't stop.
Oh, are they
the cattle trucks? If they're loaded, they can't stop.
Oh, are they
because all the cattle will fall and break their legs. They can't just stop abruptly. That's right. So if traffic abruptly stops, they'll hit the shoulder and come to a slow roll. They can't stop.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
You're meant to be a bull hauler. That's all.
I don't know. I could never do that. I would let the cows go. I don't care. I'm not a tree hugger or whatever, but like, just being in those trailers is so messed up.
That's why the regulations are different with bull haulers. They don't have hours of service because they don't have hours of service. They pick up and they drive straight through to wherever they're going. They don't hardly stop.
What?
Yeah. Because they can't. Yeah,
that's why they have those huge egos on TikTok.
Yeah, that's why, because they don't have hours of service. I mean, there is some regulations to them, but most of the time there's not.
Well, I'm assuming, yeah.
But yeah, and the other problem is the longer the cattle's on the trailer, the more weight they lose, because cattle eat nonstop, and they can lose up to about 75 to 100 pounds in the time from loading till offload.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the whole trailer can lose close to 900 pounds from the time they load until they deliver sometimes.
Yeah, because cows like to drop presents as well.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten a windshield hit?
No.
Yeah.
As soon as I see, the big metal with the slats, I'm like, okay, back up.
Yeah. I was going one time, and I was driving, and I had a student who was sitting in the passenger seat, so he was watching me drive, and I was going to go around one of these cattle haulers, and just as I started to get right next to him, stream of water started coming right out one of those slat holes, and I slammed on the brakes, and my student almost went to the windshield. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, not on my truck." Nope,
funny.
not on my truck.
Dang.
I said, I could have rolled your window down and we could have kept going, but
Free shower.
yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
A lot of scenarios that I never thought of. So I always check my fifth wheel release handle,
Uh-huh.
even if like in the fuel island, when I wake up, when I stop, when I go to the dock, I always, because he mentioned something, if someone doesn't like you and they know how trucks work, they'll just pull that.
Yep.
Scared the hell out of me, and I do it every day, all the time.
You know what I do? I just
lock
back
the
up.
rake and.
I just back up.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would forget.
I just back up every time. I just back up, make that way it'll relock and you're good to go.
I would totally forget
and then
that.
do a tug test. But the other thing the guys do is they shove a quarter in your supply line, red line.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's
so then you
scary.
lock brakes locked, you can't drive, and you walk around trying to figure this problem out. Yeah. You got a 25-cent lesson. Do your
That's
pre-trip.
messed up. The same thing, like in the same order, like you just.
I always get out of my
You can't
driver's
forget
door and I open up my side box, grab my hammer so I can do dump my tires. And then I walk around the front of my truck, checking everything, lights, going around the back, doing my landing gear, checking underneath, going around checking. And I do the same walk every single time.
Yeah.
And if you get stuck in the middle, I stop, I start over and do the whole thing again.
Yep. Because you're gonna forget some.
Yeah. Because if something happened, you get a phone call in the middle, and then you try to you might have missed something.
Yeah, and it's like.
Yeah.
The only reason why I joined the Marines, like specifically, is because, like, to like compensate for like, oh, you think I'm weak? Watch this, and like, I was like, oh my god, I made it or whatever.
The kid that gets picked on in school, so becomes a Marine, comes back, and nobody picks on him anymore.
Yep.
It's fair. It's fair.
It was fun. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Adam. I think we've been talking.
Yeah,
about
I don't know if I said.